Self-care is never wasted effort, ever, ever, ever. It always comes back to bless you. It always closes that gap between your current and ideal self. Y'all, I swear I am more consistent with actual self-care than keeping up with this self-care lab journal. It has been several months since I recorded, so I decided it was time for an update. Hi self-lovers, welcome back to Donderville, where we use self-care to create our ideal selves, homes, and lives. I am Donderville, and this is my real-time experiment using self-care to create my version of happily ever after. Apparently self-care actually works, not just for glowing skin or the physical self, but also for literally manifesting the life you've been dreaming of. And that's what my personal mission is to prove and to show by example. And it's a real-time experiment. So I am showing what happens when you are consistent with self-care, but also when you aren't. A lot of times I think it's human nature to slack off on something once it starts working. Like once you're in a better place, you do less of the things that got you there. So I will admit that after Q1 of the year, it was around May, birthday season, yay, Team Gemini, where I think sort of over celebrating or celebrating beyond my means. It's always been a challenging time of the year financially, because not only is it like the beginning of summer and it's my birthday, it's also my son's birthday, and it's just a season of celebration.
Yeah, Gemini season. You already know what it is. It's Gemini season. Shout out Tutu. Shout out Jordan. Shout out me. Yeah. Yes, I am the best sign to exist. What's up with you?
And I've often found myself in a worse financial situation afterwards than before. So I got to feeling a little stuck. So after birthday season, Gemini season, when I started to feel a little stuck, manifestation wise, mood wise, I noticed that my prayers became a little bit more desperate. So I did have a moment where I begged God to send me a sign that I was still on the right track. So y'all know that I encourage intentional self-care. So that's having smart goals that are specific and measurable and achievable, realistic and time-bound, but also that intentional self-care is built into those goals so that you are creating something specific. So I created home ownership or home buyership, because I'm mortgaging my home. So you're not technically ever full owner of your home. You still have property taxes, etc. But I manifested this home through prayer and intentional self-care. And so I was ready for the next tangible thing that I could feel like I did this, and I did this by feeling closer to my ideal self and my ideal life. And so those things started to line up. So I'm not super public with what those specific goals are until they actually manifest. So I was excited to do this update because, you know, of course, the why behind this real-time experiment is creating more alignment, more joy, more peace. But also those specifics are important. So the biggest thing, and I have like a little outline here of things I want to remember as I practice this YouTube thing and becoming more comfortable being in front of the camera and sharing this journey to inspire as many people as possible to use self-care to create their own fairy tale dreams or dream lives. I, have played around with scripting and following like a teleprompter type app situation. And to me, it wasn't coming across as authentic as the videos on my first accidentally deleted channel. And by the way, thank you to my now 39, I think, followers that I've built from scratch since having to start over. I appreciate you. And if you are new to Donderville, please like, subscribe, and share the content so that you can encourage others to self-care, because it works, I'm telling y'all. So the biggest thing is that I met somebody, and not just somebody. It's been about a year and a half since the end of my previous relationship, or the beginning of the end, when the writing was on the wall, when I knew in my heart it was over, and you know, there might have been a little bit more hanging on to the routines and things like that. But yeah, so I believe it's important to take some intentional time out between relationships. I don't think there's any like specific amount of time, and they say you should base it on the length of the relationship and so forth. I don't subscribe to that, but I do believe you should feel open and ready and completely over the previous situation. So I got to that point and I started to feel like, okay, I have these specific goals, and one of them was a relationship with someone who felt like my person. So y'all, I could say this feels entirely different. Like, I feel like every relationship was getting closer and closer and better, but this is better than what I could have dreamed up. I was thinking, you know, a like-minded person, someone who's like me, in the 2% of thinkers, to somebody who's outside of the box, doesn't subscribe to society's typical norms, etc. So he is kind, consistent, and it just feels easy relating to each other. I'm not rushing ahead, but I do want to celebrate that this relationship is already teaching me how good love can feel when you're actually happy with yourself and really in a good place, because I feel like the energy you're regularly exuding and the place that you're in spiritually makes a big difference in what and who you are attracting into your life. So now that I am completely over it, I can share that my last relationship ended when I gained a little weight, a little, you know, perimenopausal, about 20 pounds or so. And he said he was no longer attracted to me. He said I was slim when he met me, and he was attracted to really slim women. And so, of course, that hurt. But it also pushed me to rebuild my relationship with myself first, and to really look at how I felt about how I looked and my weight gain and things like that. So in terms of a body confidence update, I like my body again, and not because I hit a certain weight. I'm actually at a point again where I like the way I look in the mirror, and I'm not entirely sure how much I weigh. I went back to not weighing myself regularly, still working out, still working on having better nutrition, but because I stopped, you know, waging war against it, or just efforting so much into having my body look a certain way, my workouts feel fun again, my clothes feel good, and honestly, I feel sexy again and desirable. And a large part of that has to do with the person I'm with and how he affirms me, but also a lot of it has to do with the point I got to through self-care before meeting him. So I just want to check in, remind you to keep doing something nice for yourself every single day. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be anything specific, doesn't have to be expensive or luxurious. It just has to be something that closes that gap a little bit between, fantasy and reality, that closes the gap between where you are now and how you envision your ideal self. When you do your daily meditationalization, you're meditating and you're visualizing your ideal day as your ideal self walking through that day. And so you're in your ideal environment, you are doing your ideal life's work, you're with the people that you would ideally be relating to and spending your life with and around. As you're doing that, that person that you envision, you are doing something to get a little bit closer to that every day. And that could be something as small as meditating for 11 minutes every morning, or doing yoga, or finally going to that group workout that you've been wanting to participate in. So just a reminder that self-care is not bubble baths, it's daily habits, it's the self-talk, it's setting boundaries, it's the daily choices you're making. I have this reminder on one of my cork boards near my desk that says, with this choice, honor my body and health. Would the best version of me make this decision? And am I choosing to feel good right now or later? And I think those are all really good questions to ask yourself. I first put that written reminder when I was wanting to reduce the amount of weed I was smoking. And now I don't smoke weed at all. But at the time, it was helpful to see that in the place where I did, to just ask myself, think about, not to say that I still don't feel like there's anything wrong, but I wanted to look at the frequency and the amount and things like that. So it helped me. So hopefully it helps somebody else. Also, loving yourself makes it easier not only for you to love other people, because I honestly believe you cannot truly love other people until you love yourself, but it also makes it easier for other people to love you. I watch a ton of reality dating shows. That's my guilty pleasure, as they say. I don't feel guilty about it. I think it's so fascinating to watch people in the search for human connection and relating to each other and just the psychology behind it. I absolutely love it. But one thing I've noticed, and I always say, and through my own experiences, it is exhausting to be in a relationship with an insecure person. The amount of, women naturally, I think, need more reassurance than men, but in general, somebody who needs constant reassurance, like you just, did something wonderful for them and displayed your love and whatever your love language is, and you just told them they're beautiful and so on and so forth, and 5 minutes later they're like, well, I feel fat, or what do you think about this, or do you think I'm pretty? Like, that's a lot for anybody to handle. So, and also joy and feeling happy is not a reward for getting everything perfect, because this is a journey, as y'all know, not just self-care, but life is a journey. So joy is the foundation of creating more joy. I know it's crazy, and I talk about it all the time. I listen to Esther Hicks Abraham, and that is reiterated in different ways all the time. Like, you have to be happy first, and then you create more happy through that happiness. So I would love to talk next about, actually I'm going to write about it on my blog. Be sure to check out Donderville.com. I am bringing my blog back, and I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to do it on Medium as I did before, or just directly through Donderville.com, but they're linked, I think, presently anyway, so either way, you'll see it if you want to read. But I want to discuss the challenge of still being a person who fully believes that we are each responsible for our own happiness, but also being in a relationship with somebody who adds to your happiness so much, and finding that balance of not becoming dependent upon, the happiness that another person or that relationship brings you, and still remaining, unconditionally happy, despite, ups and downs in that relationship, or in the amount of, happiness that that person is adding to your life. So that's going to be next in some way, shape, or form. But also, not to go into specifics, but although I love my house, I am still creating my happiest home. So I want to next start focusing. Right now, I'm kind of in repair mode. I am hitting, I think, 4 years this November. And so little things inside and out are starting to, show wear and tear and age. So there's some, little patchwork and things going on. But outside of that, I want to start, furnishing and decorating the way I had in mind when I first, it's kind of just been what works for now. Still, with my own flair, my bohemian, for the most part, flair, but just a little more intentionality and beauty on a budget still. But I am in the process of refining my self-care plan for the rest of the year, and I'll encourage you to do the same. It's a great time entering the last quarter of the year to, start saying, okay, this worked, this didn't work. What am I going to do now to just end it with a bang and make sure, the next year is even better. This year has been tremendous. I had a feeling it was going to be really good. If you look back on my video from New Year, I was pumped, and I still am. I realized I didn't open with my little dance. I have a different setup. Because my closet is still out of commission. So my table that I used to record on is being used as a sort of closet right now. So yeah, but it's my new man is very handy, and he already fixed my gutter for me, and he's working on my closet next. And I had my air conditioner went out, and it's in the attic, and there was some sort of leak or something. So the ceiling has some places that need to be patched up. So that's next. But yeah, refining my self-care plan, creating my happiest home, and of course some other goals that are still top secret until they, manifest a little more concretely. And then I'll share that as well. So sure, I'll have some exciting news coming soon, but I'll share exactly the steps I'm taking to refine my self-care plan so that you can do it too. And I'd like you to comment, what's one area of your life you'd like to turn into your own real-time experiment using self-care, whether it's love, your physical body, money, or your home. Tell me in the comments. And if Donderville is proof of anything, is that taking care of yourself is never wasted effort. Never. Like, you can waste time on a lot of things, social media, TV, the wrong people, but self-care is never wasted effort, ever, ever, ever. It always comes back to bless you. It always closes that gap between your current and ideal self, whatever that gap is. And I can't wait to share what's next. So definitely like, subscribe, turn on notifications once you subscribe, and please share with a friend, somebody who you want to encourage to self-care, or somebody who is already on the self-care journey, and they could use a little help from a sister friend or an auntie. I realize I'm an auntie to several people now, but yeah, I look forward to seeing you next time. in Donderville. Have a wonderful day or week or month or whenever you're watching this. And I'll see you soon, self-lovers.